Hello guys, my name is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about reasons why I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. So as I've mentioned before, I've only been a stay-at-home mom for about a couple weeks now. I think this is my third week. So I'm still kind of processing everything, trying to get into a routine, figure out what works for me. But I thought it would be interesting to just dedicate a video to me talking about why I even decided to be a stay-at-home mom, because I know it's a really hard decision. It was for me, and it's one that was a long time coming. It wasn't just a quick overnight, I'm going in, putting in my 2 weeks notice. It actually took a long time for me to make the actual decision, to make it actually happen. It took a lot, and it wasn't an easy decision for our family. So I wanted to talk about that with you guys. So I think the first thing I wanted to mention before you get into the nitty-gritty of everything that comes with being a stay-at-home mom, the first thing to think about obviously is the finances, because there's usually a reason. If the mom and the dad, the husband and the wife, are both working, you usually are depending on both incomes. I would say that's the case in the majority of situations. So it's hard for a lot of people to just instantly think, well, we can afford for me to not work, because you're so reliant on that second income. It's very hard to find a way to make that just work, one day to the next, overnight, make that change. So for us, what we thought about was, what needs to happen for me to be a stay-at-home mom, for me to quit my job? What things do we need to pay off? What things need to change? What things do we need to take out of our budget before that's feasible? And it took a lot of looking at our budget, thinking about the timeline, because when I first made my decision to stay at home with my son, it was not something we were going to immediately do. It was, if we can pay off these things in the future, then that would be a good time for me to stop working, and we would be able to make it happen. So I think when we made the decision, it probably was about 6 months later that I stopped working. We definitely had a few milestones that we needed to hit, things that needed to get completely paid off. Just kind of the timing of it all, we had to wait a little bit. I also gave my work a couple months notice, because since I knew that I was quitting, I felt like that was the right thing to do. So it was a long process to actually stop working. But it really, we're only 3 weeks in, but I feel like it was a good decision to wait, because there was a few things that we were able to pay off that made it a lot easier to look at the budget and make it work. It's still going to be, a tight budget, and it's definitely not going to be just like a super easy financial change for us. We're definitely going to have to really pay attention to what we're purchasing now, a lot more than we did before. But I think looking forward and not just automatically saying I can't afford to not work, I think it's important to think about what things need to change for me to stop working, and can I get there, and how long. Maybe it's a year or two, but can you get there eventually? That was the first thing that I feel like is important to talk about. After that, the decision is really personal, and I think you honestly have to think about, on a day-to-day basis, what makes me feel the most fulfilled, because I think that's the biggest thing. That feeds your happiness, that feeds your energy level, that feeds your spirit. And so I think if you really think about, how do I feel fulfilled, I think you'll get to the right answer. And for me, I didn't think that being a stay-at-home mom would make me feel fulfilled, honestly. I didn't for a long time. For years, I thought there was absolutely no way I could ever fathom doing that. But the last year or so, I really started to think about the things that I enjoy, the things that I want to spend my time doing, and what it would take for me to just be happy on a daily basis. For me, some of those things, having the time to work out, having the time to have a clean home, because we really can't afford to pay anyone to clean our home. Even while I was working, it just wasn't an option. So that was a huge thing. It's just, I didn't have a lot of time to clean our home, to exercise in the way that I wanted to. So those things really bring me a lot of fulfillment and a lot of joy. Having the time to make sure that my son is getting quality time with his parents, that he's learning on a daily basis, just like seeing what he does on a daily basis. I mean, missing out on a lot of things that he does really was one of the biggest things in my mind of that's going to give me a lot of fulfillment and joy. I've always gotten a lot of fulfillment from accomplishments. So for me, when I was thinking about it previously, I was thinking, I'm not going to have those accomplishments at home. I need to be working to get that fulfillment. But thinking about all of the accomplishments, I mean, now I know firsthand as a stay-at-home mom, how many things do you accomplish in a day? Hundreds. I mean, honestly, there's so many things that I do on a daily basis that when I was sitting down and actually thinking about it, they do make me feel fulfilled. I love cleaning my home. I love cooking for my family. I love playing with my son. I love getting him ready in the morning, giving him a bath. I mean, there's so many things that I honestly, like, when it boils down to the simplest feelings that we have as humans, like, I honestly get fulfillment out of that. And I had to really think about that, because my first instinct was, I love getting promotions. I love when my boss tells me I did a great job. I love completing a task at work and everyone acknowledging me for doing a good job. Like, those are definitely things that give me fulfillment. But it was a different kind of fulfillment, and that really wasn't the important type of fulfillment. That wasn't the type of fulfillment that could keep me going when things got tough, when I got stressed out, when I got overworked. It wasn't enough. But being a stay-at-home mom and taking care of my son and taking care of my home and my husband, that is enough to keep me fulfilled when things get really hard. I didn't mean for this video to be an emotional one. I don't think it typically is when people have this conversation, but for me, it's just, I'm still like soul searching a little bit about what I want to do with my life and what brings me joy. And I think I still have to figure out a lot of those pieces, but I know right now that this was a good move for me. And it's so personal, it's so different for every person. But once you get past the, can we actually afford to make this happen somehow? I think that's when you can think about, okay, but what is going to make me excited to wake up in the morning? For me, it really just boiled down to what makes me happy to wake up and what makes me feel happy about what happened that day when I go to sleep. And it's definitely going to come with its own challenges. I talk about this with my husband all the time. Working and being like a professional in the workforce, I feel like I'm still working and I'm still, I don't know, it's hard to phrase it, but in that type of like corporate environment, I guess, I use so much of my mental like energy, and I would come home exhausted. Even though I sat in a chair all day, I was exhausted every single day. Now I'm exhausted, but it's more of like a physical exhaustion more than a mental. It's like my body is sore. I've just been doing so many things. I've been lifting my son. I've been cleaning my home. We go on walks. We play at the playground. It's a completely different type of exhaustion. So it's really interesting getting used to that, like kind of training my body to be able to handle that, because since I've been in college and I graduated and I went to the workforce, I've never really been that physically active because I just didn't have the time. I've had long commutes for the past 5 years. So it's just, something new to get used to, but it's awesome. I really am happy with this decision. So I guess I just encourage you to think about what makes you honestly happy and what makes you feel fulfilled. And it doesn't have to be a quick decision. Some people, they have a moment of clarity and they're like, all right, this is what I'm doing. But I think it's something that you can definitely plan for. You can say, when this happens, I'm going to start staying home, and you can make that a priority and make that your goal and work towards that every single day, if that's really what you want. Because I believe in most situations, if that's what you want to do, it's obtainable. It's just a matter of how and when. So I hope that answers your guys' questions about that. I don't think there's anything more that I really need to say on that topic. I mean, I think that kind of sums it up. There was a lot of other little things that went into my decision. My husband is in the Air Force, and we are going to be moving at least one more time in about a year. So that makes things more difficult for me, for my career. But I don't think that played into it very much, honestly. I don't think that had a huge weight on my decision. It was so many other things that made me feel like this was the right choice. It wasn't about where I'm living or having to move a bunch, because I feel like if I honestly wanted to work, I could find a job wherever we go, but that's just not where I want to be right now. So, and that also means that I can change my mind at any point, and I don't have to feel like this is the choice I made and I'm stuck with that choice, because honestly in 5-8 years I could see myself doing something completely different. But who knows? Right now this was a difficult decision, and I'm glad I actually went through with it and made this change for myself and our family, and I hope I was a little bit helpful. Thank you guys for watching this video, and please hit the subscribe and like button if you enjoyed this. Thanks.